Step 1 is the tail pitch slider assembly. That's box 2, bag 1. Now, there's a note on here. This is pre-assembled for you. The manual shows how to rebuild it for maintenance purposes and stuff. But this does come pre-assembled and pre-Loctited and greased where needed because of the fine tuning of it. Alright, and then the next step is the tail grip and pin hub. This is also in the manual to show you how to rebuild it and stuff, but it does come pre-assembled. That's in your CNC tray. The next step, now we get to assembling. This is pre-assembled without CA glue for this is bag 2 or bag 3 from box 2. It does come pre-assembled. It's the tail pitch or the bell crank lever. Now the manual says to take these out and then put CNC glue on them. I use Elmer's glue whenever it's metal or plastic. It holds just as good as Loctite, but yet you can still remove it for maintenance later. Like if one of these pins wears down and I want to replace it, I'll be able to crack the glue loose, take it out, and put the new one in. I'm not a big fan of this is just me, but anything that can be rebuilt, I'm not a fan of using CA glue. Okay, and then where is it? All right, box 2, bag 2 is the roller for the tail case. This also comes pre-assembled, for precision reasons and stuff, and until you get your bird running and you learn learn the ins and outs and how to rebuild it and stuff. Which, if you're buying this bird, you probably should be there already. But this will get you where you're more familiar with it before you need to rebuild it. But this also comes pre-assembled. Right. In your carbon fiber. The next step here, you'll need your 2 sides for the tail case and built-in tail fin. And then you'll need from your CNC board, you'll need your tail shaft there, and then your pitch, your arm, your bell crank lever mount. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this out of the bag with my fat fingers here. Now, as I mentioned, the roller comes pre-assembled. Okay. Now the next step, pitch slider. Now this is your 2mm. Alright. Now, like I mentioned, I like using Elmer's glue, just the Elmer's washable clear glue. I like using the clear because that way it doesn't show up. And whoop, I gotta get some more. Our next step is, assembling the pitch slider, like I said. Your 2mm. Now, you don't want to really torque on these. I just back them out. And then I take myself, I have a little Elmer's glue on here. Just rub it on the threads. Whoop, I backed it out too far. Just a little Elmer's glue. Now you don't want to torque these down tight. These are just to guide the, just kind of keep a little gap where you can see what your background is. And once that head hits and there's no gap, that's good. Don't need to really crank down on it or anything. The Elmer's glue will hold it in there. It's, you know, it's going on. I already put glue on this side earlier. I'm just gonna double check. Yeah, I don't see no gap. The Elmer's glue will hold that in there. The CA glue will hold it in there. So there's no reason to really crank down on it. Metal to plastic to begin with, in general. That's why, like on a lot of your micros, you actually don't need anything, because metal to plastic in general holds pretty good. Okay, now 1.5 millimeter for the ball. Alright, and it goes on the underside, and we're going to use a little Elmer's glue. I'm going to put an Elmer's glue on the plastic side. Kind of put that drip down into the hole. You can use CA glue, but I like using Elmer's glue. That way it's a little forgiving for how fast I'm putting something in. And also it kind of sort of lubricates it a little bit until it gets in there and gets tight. Again, you only want to snug it because this is plastic. The glue will hold it. You only want to just kind of snug it. You know, like, just, I mean, I could basically do this. I mean, 2 fingers, and you know, that's even feeling like I'm torquing on it tight. Once the flange hits the plastic, you're good. You don't need to go any farther. The glue will hold it. Okay, so we're all assembled there. Alright, next we have our, the bearings are already CA glued in. But that's for if you have to rebuild, replace bearings, it lets you know what to use. Alright, next step, the roller bearing. Now this is where I'm going to end up finding out. Here we have the side. I'm going to lay it down this side. Okay, here's our roller. I'm going to take it out. As you notice, there's a little V area. That's the side I'm going to take it out on. The other side should have our Loctite already. Okay, and it goes in the upper hole. Alright, now I like using my Loctite in a little tub. And using a toothpick for putting it on. Now if you're using the Lynx Loctite, it does not take much at all. This blue Loctite, if you use too much, it almost acts like a red Loctite. Okay, it backed off the other one. So, alright, this is put on. The inner one is Loctited. At least on mine. Now, I'm going to double check on this side. There. Okay. And next step, bell crank assembly. Note, important, this part is, tuning reasons, come from the factory, assembled with Loctite already used. Alright, so we have this frame now. We're going to look at it just like the factory, and this goes on this direction. We'll take our 1.5 and remove the screws. Okay, now make note that the hook is on the top, and we put it on from the side. Now you're going to be drawing through the carbon fiber, so you do have Loctite, so just make sure that there's no feel, no movement, but you don't want to super crank it down because you want to be able to check, there's no gap in there. The screws were snug, so we're good. On these little minis, it's easy to over tighten something. And then all you're doing is you're overstressing everything. Alright, we have that on there. Okay.